Hi boys and girls! Today we are going to be using parentheses in equations. Parentheses, if you're not sure what that word means, that's those two lighter purple things in the title here. Our learning target is I can write and solve equations with parentheses in them. So, knowing how to use these will help you solve more complex equations as you go forward with your math learning. Let's get started. Last week, we learned that when you multiply, the order of the numbers doesn't matter. Multiplication facts can flip-flop the same way addition facts do. If you want to get fancy, the math name for that is the commutative property. You can think about it like the word commute. When people travel to and from work, they're commuting. When a problem flip-flops, it's like they're traveling from one spot to the other. So here's some examples of addition facts where they flip-flop or have the commutative property. 10 plus 5 is 15, or you can flip it over, 5 plus 10 is 15. The same thing works with 3 plus 6 is 9, and 6 plus 3 is 9. Over here we have some multiplication examples. 10 times 5 is 50, but 5 times 10 is also 50. 3 times 6 is 18, and 6 times 3 is also 18. So now we're going to talk about writing equations for problems with more than one step. Sometimes you need to solve problems with 3 or more numbers. Here are 3 story problem examples that we'll be solving later in this video. You can pause the video if you want to read them. But the important thing to notice is that these story problems have 3 numbers in them, and they have at least 2 steps. So, let's start with the first story problem. Silas had 4 books. He got 3 more at the store, and then he got 6 from the library. How many books does he have now? Okay, so we need to write an equation that matches this problem. To do that, think about what happens in the beginning and middle and end, but also think about what question you're trying to answer. In this story problem, the question is how many books does he have now at the end of all of that business? Take a moment, pause the video, and see if you can write an equation that matches this story. Silas had 4 books, he got 3 more at the store, then he got 6 from the library. How many books does he have now? Hopefully, you wrote an equation that's something like this. Silas started with 4 books. He got 3 more at the store, so he added 3. And then he got 6 books from the library. That's adding another 6 books. We don't know how many he had at the end. That's the question. Now, looking at that problem, which numbers will you add up first? You're going to put parentheses, that's these symbols right here, around the part of the equation that you'll solve first. I put the parentheses around 4 plus 3. I did that because in the story, the part where Silas got 3 more books at the store came first. It happened before he went to the library and got books. Listen again. Silas had 4 books, and he got 3 more books at the store. That was the first thing that happened, so the parentheses go around there. That's the first thing we need to do. After we solve that bit, then we'll add the 6 he got from the library. Okay, so now let's solve it. I'm going to stack my equations up on my paper so that the answer to the 4 plus 3 in the parentheses goes right underneath it. 4 plus 3 is 7. Then I just drop the rest of the equation down to be on the same line with it. My new equation is 7 plus 6 equals our answer, how many books he has now. Now all I have to do is add 7 plus 6, and it gives me 13. The parentheses told you which part to add first, and we did that part because that was the first thing that happened in the story. After we solved the parentheses, then we could keep going with the equation. Okay, let's try a problem with subtraction next. Now watch out. You really need parentheses when you do a subtraction problem with more than one part. Because if you do the steps in the wrong order, you can get the wrong answer. I'll show you an example of that after we solve this one correctly. We're going to do it right before we do it wrong. Here's the next story. Mrs. Itma had 12 cookies. She gave 5 to Emerson and then gave 5 to Casey. How many cookies does she have left? What equation would you write for this problem? Pause the video and see if you can do it. Here's the digits in an equation. We started with 12 cookies. Then Mrs. Itma gave 5 cookies away to Emerson. And then she gave 5 to Casey. 12 minus 5 minus 5. The question we need to figure out with the question mark is how many cookies Mrs. Itma had left at the end. Where would you put the parentheses in this problem? Which part should we do first? Where should we put the parentheses in this problem? Which part should you do first? If you're not sure, think about which part came first in the story. Hopefully, you put the parentheses around 12 minus 5. Because you need to subtract the first group of 5 cookies from the 12 before you subtract the next group of 5 cookies. Remember, Mrs. Itma had 12 cookies at the beginning, and she gave 5 to Emerson. That's the first chunk of the story. After that, she gave 5 cookies to Casey. That's the next part. At the end, we'll know how many cookies were left over. Pause the video and see if you can solve it. You ready? Here we go. Underneath 12 minus 5, I put a 7, and I dropped the rest of it down. Our new equation is 7 minus 5 equals question mark. Now we can solve it. 7 minus 5 is 2. Mrs. Itma had 2 cookies left over at the end. So let's back it up. Now 2 was the right answer. That's how many cookies Mrs. Itma had left. But I'm going to show you a mistake. This person put the parentheses over there, around the 5 and the 5. What would happen if you solved the equation like this? What answer would you get? You can pause the video here and try to solve this on your paper. Remember, this way does not match our story problem. Okay, so if you did the parentheses first, 5 minus 5, you would get 0. 12 minus 0 is 12. Now hold on. Putting the parentheses in the wrong spot completely changed the answer. Now Mrs. Itma had 12 cookies left over. That doesn't make any sense with the story. Because in the story, Mrs. Itma started with 12 and gave 5 away and then gave another 5 away. If Mrs. Itma gave all those cookies away, she can't possibly still have 12 cookies. That doesn't make any sense. Make sure that when you use parentheses, you put them in the right spot, the part that happens first. Also, make sure you double check your answer at the end. If you really think about the story, it's obvious that something has gone wrong here because the answer 12 doesn't make any sense with that story. Last one for this video. I'm going to walk you through a multiplication problem with 2 steps and parentheses. We're going to do the setting up part of the story here in the video, and then you're going to solve it on your own. You're going to bring the problem and the way you solved it to the meeting that we'll have today so that we can talk about our work. Here's the story. Rochelle bought 4 boxes of hot dogs for a barbecue. Each box has 2 packages in it. Each package has 5 hot dogs. So how many hot dogs did Rochelle buy? Okay, the question was how many hot dogs did Rochelle buy? And this problem has 2 steps. First, we know Rochelle had 4 boxes, but we have to figure out how many packages she has in all 4 boxes. Each box has 2 packages in it. You should be thinking about what multiplication you could do to figure that out. Maybe jot it down if you've already got it. Once we know that answer, we can use that answer to figure out how many hot dogs, that answer plus how many hot dogs are in each package to figure out the total number of hot dogs she bought. Okay, try and write an equation that matches this problem. Remember, first, we know she has 4 boxes with 2 packages in each. That'll give us how many packages she has altogether. Once we know that, we can take the number of packages and use that with 5 hot dogs in each package. Okay, here's the equation that matches this story. First, you have your 4 boxes times 2 packages in each box. This will give you the number of packages she has altogether. Then you have this number of packages times 5 hot dogs in each package. That'll give you the number of actual hot dogs Rochelle got. So, you have your equation, you have your story problem. Try to solve this one on your own, and we'll share our work and talk about our strategies at the meeting today. That's all for now. See you in the next video.